All right, welcome in. Musso at the Box, presented by Gotlit Light Installers. Y'all smash the like button, get subscribed, follow me on social media. Tigers win 10-2 over Oklahoma. Dominant fashion, really never in doubt throughout the game. Even when it was a two-run game, LSU, they got themselves into a little bit of trouble. Ianson, a little bit of some iffy moments throughout the game, but man, he made some big pitches when he needed to. There was another great outing from him. That's two in a row in the SEC. And you look at him and Anderson, and you're like, man, that's a pretty heavy 1-2 punch LSU's working with right now at the front of their rotation. Case and Evans out of the bullpen, 10 outs for you, shutout ball. I've got some numbers on the pitching staff that I want to go through. You've used 3 pitchers, and they have been phenomenal, and you have absolutely neutralized Oklahoma's offense. Speaking of offense, LSU's was phenomenal. There you go, Wade. Yeah, that'll do for Dickinson, huh? Love it, my man. LSU's offense was phenomenal tonight. You opened the scoring in the second with a 4-run inning. You closed the scoring in the ninth with a 4-run inning. Just very, very good. You had a couple of one spots in between there. 10 runs, 15 hits, 10 left on base. Awesome. I mean, that'll do it. And you know what? To do that on a night where the conditions were what they were, and to have the 3 home runs, 2 of them by Josh Pearson, more on that momentarily, but the one by Danny Dickinson, y'all, goodness, that was a no-doubter straight into that wind in left field. I mean, you could tell the wind played with it a little bit, because if you watched where it went over the wall in relation to where the left fielder ended up, but that's one of the most impressive home runs anyone from LSU has hit all season. The one that Danny Dickinson hit tonight in that 9th inning to get that 4-run 9th inning started. So that's kind of just an overview, some overview thoughts. I mean, LSU has played 2 awesome games so far here this weekend up in Norman, in some really tough conditions, facing some really tough starting pitching, and they've hit it really, really well. I've been just super impressed with LSU's plan at the plate and the execution of that plan, staying in character throughout the first 18 innings of this series. Awesome. I see all of y'all talking about Chris Stanfield. We're gonna go there too, because Chris Stanfield, player of the game. Like it was between him, Jared Jones, and Josh Pearson. It ends up being Chris Stanfield. Just 4-hit night at the bottom of your order. Drove in 4 of the 10 runs. He was awesome. We'll come back to him. Let's start with the pitching, though. Let's kind of just take this kind of inning by inning a little bit here to start. So you look at LSU, they go rather quietly there in the first inning. You didn't have the 2-out walk to Danny Dickinson. That was a huge at-bat in the game, though, because it got Crossland's pitch count up. That was a 11 pitch at-bat, I believe, and Dickinson ends up drawing the walk. Fry would strike out on the next 3 pitches. Rough night for our guy. That was tough to see, especially with how hot he's been, but he'll bounce back. So you go rather quietly. For the second straight day, Oklahoma mounts a threat in the first inning. You get walked to fly out, but then the zone started to jump around on Ianson. He did not have a great feel for his curveball in that first inning. Now, the thing with Nate Yeskie that we know is he's going to keep throwing it, and he did, and it almost got Ianson in a lot of trouble. But what they did later in that inning, after you walk Gamble and then Carmichael singles, you saw him go more to fastball changeup once you were able to get some lefties in the box. And that ultimately got him out of the inning. You go fly out and then the first strikeout, and he's through. What was uber impressive was LSU's offense putting up the 4 spot in the second inning. You had the leadoff walk to Milam. Josh Pearson's hit by a pitch. So you have 2 free passes to start. You have to get something out of that. And it looked bleak for a moment, because Hernandez strikes out, then Reeves strikes out, although the home plate umpire absolutely bailed Cade Crossland out right there. That was a horrible called strike 3 on Reeves. His zone his zone sucked all night, but it was for both sides. It just was inconsistent. Sometimes it was small, sometimes it was wide. You had a lefty in the box, he'd give a ball or so off the plate. He wasn't a very good home plate umpire, but he was consistently bad for both sides. And he bailed Cade Croston out right there. The bases should have been loaded. But man, that's where you look at this team and you go, how many other teams in the country are in that spot where you have first and second, nobody out, you go strikeout, and now you're looking 2 outs, first and second. Oh, I'm sorry, at that point it was second and third because you had a wild pitch in there. Second and third, and your 9-hole hitter at the plate. Sorry, I got distracted by something in the chat there. How many teams in the country are thinking, crap? And if you're LSU, you have Chris Stanfield down at the bottom of your order, who's hitting over 300, and he hits a little bloop double into left field and opens the scoring at 2. And then with 2 outs, LSU does what they do. You get the 3 straight 2-out hits. Curiel gets a hit him where they ain't double, and that scores Stanfield. And then Jared Jones follows up right behind him with a single up the middle, and LSU puts up 4. And Danny Dickinson damn near beat out that bunt to end that inning, and you're up 4-0 if you're LSU there. And what was so key was the bottom half. Anthony Ianson comes out, has a much better feel for the curveball, goes 3 up, 3 down, dominant with 2 strikeouts. He was ahead of every hitter, never a 3-ball count. And it's like, okay, he's getting ready to settle in. He's getting ready to settle in. While Cade Croston also settles back into the third, LSU goes, weakly. In the bottom half of the third inning, that was tough to see because you get a ground ball to third, which should have been an out, but Reeves, it got through him. And look, Tanner Reeves has done very well at the plate so far this season. That's what you give up. To have his bat in the lineup, you give up a little bit of defense at the plate. And that was big because that was the 9-hole hitter that you allowed to reach on the air. And that flipped the lineup. And the top of Oklahoma's lineup is very, very good. Like you get to Gamble, you get to Carmichael, you get to Willits, you get to Branch, who's had a really, really tough weekend, but has had a great season. That's where it can you get yourself into trouble. And ultimately, Ianson did a little bit there, but both of those runs were unearned. And you know what? I thought he really settled in nicely in the 4th and the 5th. Strikes out the side in the 4th, and then in the 5th, he's able to pitch around a little bit of trouble. And this was the huge moment in the game for Anthony Ianson. This is where he put the exclamation point on his outing. So you're in that same situation you were in the 3rd inning, where you're facing 9, 1, and 2 in the order. You get the out this time on Harris. It was a great defensive play by Dickinson, ranging to the middle of the diamond, quick transfer throw across his body to get a speedy left-handed hitter. Great play. And now you're like, okay, you're in a good spot, right? Because you have you have 1 out and the top of the order coming out. That's right where you want to be. You get Jason Walk, you're in business. Fortunately, you didn't. You walked, and then followed that up with a second walk. And now you're facing Easton Carmichael and Jackson Willits. And this is a 2-run game at this point. And Ianson locks back in. You had a mound visit from Nate Yeske in there. You also had a visit from Luis Hernandez in there, which was telling because, that shows you the kind of the control he has over the staff. And Ianson locks back in and does it pretty quickly. He got Carmichael and Willits to fly out on 7 pitches. That's awesome. And at that point, he was at 92 pitches through 5, and you knew, okay, he's got a shot to come back out for the 6th. Then he'd get 2 outs, and then you'd go to Case and Evans, and Case and Evans would take you the rest of the way. It wasn't without a little bit of issue there from Evans. Gave up a couple of hits, maybe in a little bit of a hairy spot, but he didn't walk anybody. He struck out 5, 3 1/3 shutout. He was awesome. LSU's pitching this week this weekend has been incredible. This is where I kind of want to get into a little bit of that, and then we'll kind of punctuate the game and talk about the offense in that regard. Smash the like button if you haven't already. LSU's pitching so far this weekend has not given up an earned run. Both runs that Ianson gave up were unearned. Anthony Ianson in his last 2 outings has not given up an earned run. That's how awesome he's been. He's gotten you into the 6th inning both times, and he has not given up an earned run in 2 straight outings. In 3 of their last 4 conference games, LSU has not given up an earned run. That is really, really, really good, man. Really good. If you're doing that, you're going to win a lot of games. And, that sounds like, well, duh, Musso. But what emphasizes that point is how good LSU's defense normally is. So 3 pitchers, you had a complete game shutout, and then Ianson and Evans combined here. LSU pitching on the weekend, again, no earned runs. They have punched out 27 so far on the week. Awesome. Just dominant. So I'm fired up for Ianson, y'all. He battled again, 107 pitches, 66 of them for strikes. Again, 2 straight outings without an earned run, 2 more wins. He's still undefeated, and he set the tone for LSU. Kind of like Cade Anderson did a night ago, where you survived that threat in the first. And Ianson did that a couple of different times tonight, man. Yeah, we mentioned the 5th, the first, he pitched out of jams. And you're developing quite the 1-2 right now as you hit the midway point in SEC play next week. And that's a great spot to be, because the schedule does, you got that stretch, the final, 3 out of the last 4 weeks of this season, where you're going to face Tennessee, A&M, Arkansas. A&M, I know what they look like right now, but that's still a road series. So to have that develop is awesome. So, major hat tip to Ianson. Evans is great. I'll say this about Evans. It's funny because you look at the numbers, and after tonight, he's at a 0.77 ERA. And it's just like, man, he's a freshman. How does he do it? Like, he doesn't look like a freshman. And what's funny about it is, when you look at the stat line, like the final, he doesn't. But there's points in the game where you're like, no, yeah, he's still a freshman. He'll fall behind. He'll labor a little bit. That's freshman. What's not is the ability that he has shown to pitch around all of it. And that is what is so damn impressive about Kason Evans. Absolutely awesome, y'all. Absolutely awesome stuff from the LSU pitching staff. So you're looking at, let's see, 7 walks, 27 punch-outs so far for LSU on the weekend. 0 earned runs. Awesome. And you've used 3 pitchers. We'll get into that when we talk about tomorrow's game momentarily, but you've used 3 pitchers. All right, let's get into the offense and kind of finish the recap of the game. First, Gotlit Light Installers, GotLitLights.com, permanent outdoor landscape lighting, front yard, backyard, patio, pool area, front flower beds, back flower beds. However you want to illuminate your landscape, Gotlit Light has you covered. Temporary outdoor lighting for any of your private events, weddings, wedding receptions, engagement parties, anniversaries, birthday parties, graduation parties, which are coming up here for high school and college. Gotlit Lights, in all your temporary outdoor lighting needs. Custom design, cut to fit, Gotlit Lights, GotLitLightInstallers.com. I'm sorry, Gotlit Light Installers, GotLitLights.com. Go there for your quote and tell them you heard it right here in Moose with the Box. All right. 6th inning, Josh Pearson, homer, solo shot. That's the run you score. 7th inning, LSU's able to push across 1 more. That pushed it to a 6-2 lead, and you're starting to just feel more and more comfortable having Kason Evans on the mound. That was the weird play with the fielder's choice and the error on the throw. Just really cool that happened, I guess. I Watch ESPN was being a piece of garbage, and it kept phasing out. I was not happy in that moment, but was able to kind of get the gist of what happened. Shortstop threw it away or whatnot. You push across another run, awesome. That gets you to 7-2. And then you punctuated the 9th inning. We kind of touched on it at the start. Danny Dickinson, that home run, y'all, that is a grown man. Pull him up by the bootstraps, drive the ball. And I love it. I love it because I know I've talked about it, where you look at the home runs Dickinson hit a season ago at Utah Valley, and it's like, okay, there's some altitude there. You're in the WAC. How does that translate? And so far, I mean, Dickinson's hit the ball out of the park very well. That one proves translation of the power. That's what that is. To hit it through that wind, and not only through the wind, but a towering shot. That again shows you just how hard he hit that ball. Sometimes you'll see him get through the wind, the low liners. That thing was a moonshot. Just wildly impressive from Danny Dickinson. And then how about Josh Pearson, y'all? Follows it up again. Another solo shot to right. And this is where I want to highlight Josh Pearson, because there's two instances in this ball game on Friday night where you can look at this LSU team and go, man, there's the length in the lineup. One of them is Chris Stanfield, because as we talked about, Chris Stanfield was incredible tonight. Stanfield was 4 out of 5 with 4 RBI and a couple doubles out of your 9-hole. He kept coming up with guys on base, and he kept coming through in the clutch time and time and time again. He is now back up to 333 on the season. He's absolutely raking this weekend. That's 5 hits so far on the weekend for Chris Stanfield. So that immediately shows you the length in the lineup. The other thing that does, and maybe it's not the length, it's more just an illustration of the depth, is Josh Pearson. Do y'all know when Josh Pearson's last at bat was before tonight? Anybody? Like, I'm actually asking. Anybody in the chat? Do you know? It's not like you don't get a grade for this if you get it wrong or not. I'm just curious. 1 week ago, Josh Pearson had not taken an at bat since the second game against Mississippi State. He's inserted in the lineup tonight after a week of not getting a live AB and hits 2 home runs. You know what that is? First of all, it's a great veteran hitter doing what great veteran hitters do and doing what he's done his entire career here. But that's an embarrassment of riches. Plain and simple. That is an embarrassment of riches. And it's just another illustration. It's another illustration of the depth and the length in any lineup that LSU can run out there. Y'all, at any time, they are running out 9 300 hitters. That is unheard of. Just so good. And like you had a night ago, you had production from every third of your lineup. Your top 3 tonight accounted for 6 of your 15 hits. Jared Jones had 3 of them. Pearson had the 2 for your middle line, in the middle part of your lineup, 4, 5, and 6. And then Hernandez and Stanfield were elite tonight. They combined for 6. Your top 3, your bottom 3 combined for 12 of your 15 hits. The other 2 came from Josh Pearson, which both left the yard, and the lone other single was from Michael Braswell off the bench. Embarrassment of riches. And to do all of that in those conditions, awesome. Awesome. That's a great series win. That's a top 10 series win, y'all. Do I actually think Oklahoma's a top 10 team? No, I don't. I was not high on Oklahoma coming into this season because they just had to replace so much from a really good team a year ago. And now that they've gotten into conference play, that's starting to show. So do I actually think they're a top 10 team? No. Do I think they're an NCAA tournament team? Absolutely. Will this series help you in the long run with your RPI and getting a top 8 national seed? Absolutely. But people are going to look back at it who didn't watch the series and go, that's a top 10 series win on the road. And for that, you get one hell of a pat on the back. That's awesome. So I could not be more pleased with the first 2 games of that series for LSU. I think they've done phenomenal work at the plate, and obviously they've done phenomenal work on the mound. Outside of the 2 errors you committed on Friday night, LSU has played a perfect series so far. Outside of those 2 errors. And you're never going to play perfect in baseball because it's baseball. But they've done just about as much as you can. All right, let's talk a little bit about game number 3, and then we will take some questions to close this thing out. Game 3, tomorrow, Saturday, still on for 2 o'clock. We'll see if they get that through. One thing I can tell you is this is probably going to be the worst weather they've seen. The wind is going to be howling tomorrow, and the high is in the 40s, and the wind chill will be in the 30s. They said on the broadcast, maybe even the 20s. That sucks. It's April. Clean it up, Norman, Oklahoma. But what you will see, according to the broadcast tonight, Oklahoma has made their decision. It will be Malachi Witherspoon on the bump, opposing Chase Shores. Let's start with Witherspoon, number 2, twin brother, Malachi. Fastball, low to mid-90s, backs it up with a slider. Got roughed up pretty darn good at Alabama a week ago. Here, I'll get you his line from that outing. There he is, Malachi Witherspoon. Witherspoon statistics. He gave up 8 runs in 5 innings. 5 of those 8 were earned. He didn't. He walked 1 and struck out 6. So they let him get through it, but he got roughed up. He is gettable, although he has been in their rotation all season long to this point. Now in the SEC, in his 3 SEC starts, he has an ERA over 8. But the stuff is plenty good. And I think you should respect that, because look at a guy like Cade Crossland tonight, right? Crossland came in with an ERA north of 6.5, and he pitched quite well given the circumstances that he was under. I mean, we talked about his changeup on the preview, and that pitch was as advertised. That is a damn good changeup. So Malachi Witherspoon's got really good stuff, but that's who you'll see according to the broadcast on Friday night. He's gettable, especially with the way LSU has been hitting the ball. Randall, Georgia did not beat Texas. In fact, Texas beat Georgia 5-1. Jared Spencer must have had a hell of a night to hold down that lineup. Now, for LSU, you got Chase Shores going, and I can't be more excited to watch him pitch, because I thought he really did things well for you outside of the 2nd inning, and he only gave up 2 hard hit balls in that inning against Mississippi State. Then he took the ball off the eye. He would have been back out there for the 5th. That was a big step in the right direction for Chase Shores a week ago. So I'm fired up to see him get back out on the mound. And after that, take your pick. You've got Zach Cowan still in the tank. You've got Connor Benj. You've got Jaden Newt. You've got Connor Ware. You've got DJ Primo. You've got them all. Outside of Ianson, Anderson, and Evans, you've got them all. LSU might not be in a better position this season to sweep than they are right now. Like, I don't know how you don't pick LSU to sweep this series after what you've seen for the first 2 days. So I think it's a great chance. I'd imagine you see a very similar starting lineup that you did today for LSU. And, man, I think that puts you just in an absolute spot to go out and get a sweep. Trey saying he wouldn't be surprised if Cowan gets the weekend off. I would be, and here's why. He hasn't pitched since last Thursday. You got to get him back on the mound. So I don't care if it's for a couple hitters. You got to get him back out on the mound. He can't go that long without pitching. So great win. I think you're in a great spot tomorrow. Obviously, you've put up 12 runs in the first 2 games in some really tough conditions against some really tough pitchers. You found your home run swing tonight. You've done it in multiple different ways. They've been great. I mean, they've been great. And they won a series. That's now 7 straight wins for LSU. They're 29-3, with a chance to go to 30-3 with a win tomorrow. Now 9-2 in the SEC. You're in a fantastic spot. All right, y'all give me some questions here to wrap this thing up. Smash the like button if you have not already. please smash the like button. Andrew Batto, Musso, Reeves, or Braswell, they're going to platoon. If I had my way, I would probably still go Braswell. I know that sounds crazy, and I like what Reeves is giving you at the plate. I really do. But LSU can sacrifice a tad bit of offense. And plus, Michael Braswell has proven he can do this at the SEC level. So I know the numbers aren't, going to jump off the page at you, but he's really started to hit the ball better the last couple of weeks. And I love the glove over there so much. I love the glove over there so much. So, I'd go Braswell. How do you think Shores matches up with OU's batters? That's a good question. Who asked that, actually? That was Cloud Zach. We love Cloud Zach here. That's a really good question, because I don't think it's really much different than any other lineup that he's faced, because Shores is going to give up some contact. A lot of it's going to be weak. You have to play good defense behind him. The key for Chase Shores, though, is keeping the walk number down. If he can get ahead in the count, and here's the thing, the slider has been so much better the last couple of weeks. It's been tighter. He's been able to locate it on the outside corner, and that just takes his 98-mile-per-hour sinker to a whole nother level. Oklahoma gives competitive at-bats. I know that doesn't really shine through because LSU's punched out 27 on the weekend, but they give really competitive at-bats. And against a guy like Chase Shores, if he's not uber sharp with the off-speed and the breaking stuff, that's where he can get into a little bit of trouble. So we'll wait and see. But look, I expect Shores to go out there and give you a great effort. I mean, he's done that all season long, so I expect nothing less. The stuff plays at any level. So it's just watch the slider and the off speed from Shores, and that should tell you how his outing's going to go. Armonte Hayes, was this just a bad night for Fry, or is this a bad? No, I think it's a bad night. I mean, Ethan Fry, even after tonight, Ethan Fry is hitting 364, and he's hitting close to 400 in the SEC, or at least he was coming into the weekend. So I think it's I think it's just a rough night for Fry. He didn't look good up there tonight, but I'm excited to see him in the lineup again tomorrow, see if he can't bounce back. Just a great couple of games. I've had a wonderful time. Ben Ryan, that's a great point. He did. He smoked a couple tonight too, especially that one to center field, and it just hung up. That's the wind, right? So I'm not worried about Ethan Fry yet. I'm just not. Especially in this lineup. LSU, I don't know what your full handle is. Says Brown or Pearson will DH tomorrow. Probably Brown. Brown will be in the lineup, but probably in right field. So you'd be looking at either Pearson or Fry. I still think they give it to Fry. But against the righty, Brown will probably be in right field. Marcel Joseph, why do you think Jay went to Evans over Cowan tonight? This is gonna sound like a cop-out, but he pitches in game 2. I mean, that's honestly, that's why I think that. They had Cowan warming up last night. Like, he has pitched in every game 1 that LSU has had in the SEC until this weekend. Cowan has pitched. And in every game 2, except out of the one at Texas, Evans has pitched. They just line them up that way. And the reason they're doing that, they like the look that those two give off of Anderson and Ianson, respectively. I really do believe that. We talked about that with Cowan a night ago. He's such a different look than Cade Anderson. And Evans is too. It's a harder fastball. He's got a little bit more on the slider, and the changeup is really good. So while it's it's a different arm slot than Ianson, so it's just different. I think that's why. Quite honest. I mean, and that's his day to pitch, but that's why it's his day to pitch, is because they like the looks that those guys give up. When do you think? I don't know what that said. Armani Hayes, when do you think DJ Primo is what he means will be used outside of matchup situations? I don't know if he will. Until he can throw strikes consistently, I don't know that he will. I mean, him not throwing strikes consistently is risky bringing him in matchup situations. That's not what I wanted to do. Alex, do we just see Shores and Cowan tomorrow? No, I think you see a host of guys. DJ Trauma Gaming, do we get a live show tomorrow? Probably not. I will probably do the normal weekend recap on Sunday. I like to be able to get my thoughts in order on the whole weekend before doing a show there. Andrew, who's more different than Anderson, Cowan, or Schmidt? Schmidt, if he can land his stuff, Cowan. It's Cowan. I mean, you go from a lefty throwing, 93, 94, maybe bumping a 95, 96 in there every now and then with a filthy breaking ball and whatnot, to a righty who's going to come in, top out at 90, 91 and just brutalize you with a changeup. I mean, to be clear, though, Schmidt's a different look than anybody because his stuff is arguably the best on the staff. Like, it's ridiculous. So he's a different look than anybody. But it's just that thing that Cowan has, man. It's the softer stuff that plays up off of a lefty. It's just awesome. I like it. I like it an awful lot. Is that true? A&M got run ruled? Yikes. Not run ruled. I'm sorry. No hit. Yikes. I saw they got run ruled. No hit. Yikes. That is. Y'all, we're going to have some coaching changes in the SEC this year. One in Starkville, and I do believe one in College Station. There are going to be a few coaching changes. Mississippi State lost to South Carolina tonight. South Carolina is bad. That is not a good baseball team at all. And they did that at home. So I think the days are numbered for Chris Lemonis, and the Michael Early experiment has failed. 100%. That has failed. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up, guys. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate all the interaction. Y'all smash the like button on your way out, please. Get subscribed if you have not already. YouTube channel and on your favorite podcast app. Just search Musso at the Box. You'll find it right there. You can take the show with you wherever you may go. And be here next time for more on Musso at the Box, presented by Gauntlet Light Installers.